Othering Podcast explores the world of marginalized communities with a focus on the disabled and LGBTQ+. In our discussions, we will provide a platform for our guests to advocate and share their stories. By delving deep into their difficulties and successes, we will explore the changes necessary to improve lives everywhere. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to the Othering Podcast with Mike and Dory.
Hello.
Hello.
Morning or afternoon. Oh my god. It's finals week, so my brain is thinking that it's morning.
Yes, I do not miss finals week.
Nice to meet you both.
Nice to meet you.
All right, today we are talking to Martin. He is an advocate, an author, an athlete, a public speaker, and the owner of Spire Autism. He has received several awards for his advocacy and commitment. He has spoken in many different he's a public speaker and has spoken at many different events, including in Dubai, Columbus, Ohio, Seattle, Washington, and he's coming to New Jersey, Tennessee, Pennsylvania, and more later this year as well. So welcome, Martin, and it's great to meet you.
Yes, welcome, and I agree that it is awesome to meet you.
Thank you.
Gotten a chance to look at your specific page, and just your abilities are amazing, and I'm really thrilled that you are willing to talk to us.
That's awesome. I appreciate the invite. It's always great to be on podcasts to help share my story in hopes that others get that motivation to share theirs, and for them to know that, you know, to not be afraid and when they're ready to share, like, they don't need to rush into it.
Yeah, and I completely agree, and I like that sentiment that it's okay to share, but, you know, you have to do it at your own time, at your own pace, and it's important to share it, though, because everybody needs to know that they have a voice and hear all of the different voices, whether or not you share the same disease or syndrome or neurological differences or not. But everybody, we need to learn from everybody, and everybody should learn from us.
It's about learning and understanding each other.
Exactly, because understanding is what we are all about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that, and of course pushing the agenda of we're humans and that we deserve the same rights as everyone else, just because we may be different thinkers, different in our abilities, doesn't mean that we're less than.
So with that being said, do you want to tell us a little bit about your advocacy and your business, Spire Autism?
Definitely. So my advocacy started after writing my book, Chatterbox, My Life with Autism. And the book is about my perspective along with my mother's. And the unique thing about it is you get both sides of the perspective and not just one. When I was first diagnosed at the age of 5 back in the 90s, because it was so misunderstood, I really didn't accept myself. I really didn't accept the diagnosis. And then after releasing the book and getting amazing feedback, I finally not only accepted who I was, but it helped me pave the way to what I'm doing today with this advocacy work, traveling to different states, getting autism events with different sports teams, and then which led me to start Spire Autism. And with Spire Autism, I train teachers how to teach autistic students. I train first responders how to approach us during an emergency. And I just found out that I was invited to build sensory rooms for a local theater company, like musical theater and stuff. And also found out that I'm going to be teaching search and rescue on ways to find us and ways to approach us.
Wow. That is awesome.
It is.
That is really incredibly awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah, huge congrats on that. I mean, and that is so needed too, is understanding how to approach people with autism, because you get so many horror stories about how people call the cops for help with dealing with full-blown meltdowns, and we're not asking for you to come in and unfortunately murder the child. We want help. with her children. Like, for instance, our son, actually all three of our kids are neurodivergent and have their different levels of autism. And sometimes their meltdowns are a little harder than others to deal with. And the idea of having people come and help that understand what they're dealing with and how to approach is like, that would be so wonderful.
You had mentioned you were
Definitely.
diagnosed when you were 5. Growing up and going through school, and you kind of mentioned you didn't quite know yourself or understand what you were going through, but did you have a lot of, I guess, problems in like social settings and in school and stuff because of that?
Oh, yeah.
'Cause that's,
Teachers really didn't show support, and I didn't get any support from peers. And with all the bullying, I made it a goal of mine to use that as motivation to get to where I am today and to prove, like, hey, bullying didn't stop me and it made me stronger. Now, was it easy? Absolutely not. It was not. And I want to bring up real quick. I know you're talking about meltdowns, and I always seem to forget this a lot, but from what I understand, how my brain processes meltdowns is we don't mean to have these meltdowns, but it's because we're having a hard time conveying what our brain is trying to tell, which is why these meltdowns happen. And think of it like when Mentos and Diet Coke, you put the Mentos in it, it like huge
Yes.
explosion. Yeah, but
And
yeah, we just really don't mean to have those
no, of course
meltdowns.
not.
And yeah,
It's hard to regulate sometimes and understand your thought process. Sometimes they're coming so fast that it's hard to understand exactly what you're thinking and what you're feeling at the same time. And I mean, I have autism, and there are times when I will have, I call them meltdowns just mainly because I feel like I am literally melting down. It's like all of these thoughts are coming at me at once, as well as these feelings of overwhelm and kind of feeling like, okay, what do I do? Why am I doing this? And what am I thinking? And it's hard to understand that from the outside looking in because all you see is somebody either crying or what looks like a temper tantrum. And it's not. And that's the thing that, like, I love what you're doing is because more people need to understand that when those instances happen, that it's not because, attention seeking or wanting to be a pain in the butt or anything like that. It's just, it happens because sometimes it's hard to regulate everything coming at you at once.
exactly.
you had mentioned that you're going to be helping teach how to approach people with autism. Since we are reaching out to people and we want to kind of teach people, what kind of advice would you give them today?
Definitely take it slow and to not rush things. And it's actually happened to me a couple of times. If we're having a bad day, some of us don't want to be approached, and that's totally okay. And a lot of people, what I tell, like, if they want to know if they're autistic or not, I tell them take it very, very slow. Some may take time to share their stories, so a really great way is to build rapport. And by doing that, start off the conversation like, hey, what's your favorite subject to talk about or something like that to help them get more comfortable. And when they're ready, they will share their story. And it's like a lot of times people tend to miss that. And I can't express enough that rapport building with autistics are super, super important instead of like jumping right in, kind of like in the deep end.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. It can be hard to jump into a conversation right into the deep end, even for anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with being autistic, have you found that sometimes it's a little harder to talk to people in large groups? How do you prepare for those moments where you got to speak to these people and you may not necessarily feel right at that time, or for me, when I taught my students, it was always feeling like there are some days where I felt really good and I was gunning for it and I was ready. And then there were other times when it felt like no matter how much I was prepared, I still didn't feel right doing something at that moment. How do you prepare for that?
How I prepare myself is I listen to my favorite type of music first, and then other times on top of that, I color mandalas to help distract my brain to prepare to talk in a large group. And I do that a lot, especially when I'm at speaking engagements. I mean, just the last week of April, I had 6 of them in 2 days,
Oh, wow.
and my last one was 450 students at an elementary school. So I was listening to my music beforehand, walking back and forth, and it really, really helped me. And it really helped me get my point across to where the students understood.
That's a great kind of way to calm yourself and get prepared. I actually do that too. I pick my favorite songs and I listen to them on repeat sometimes, and it drives my family nuts. But it's how I kind of prepare for the day or for the moment or whatever is going on, and it's like it feels like it gives me a power. Is that kind of how music feels to you? Like it's giving you the power of speech and everything?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I mean, I've written my own song as well. I mean, it's an electronic song, but when I have more time, I start playing the guitar and kind of like it helps me tune my brain into like, hey, what should I sing about? What should I talk about? What should I bring up in my blog and so on? So something about instruments kind of helps me get focused and helps me figure out what to talk about.
So it gives you that concentration and that focus. That's pretty cool. So,
Yeah.
speaking of the public speaking and everything, when did you, I guess, kind of realize that that's what you wanted to do? I mean, personally, I hate public speaking. I'm like terrified of it. And I would imagine with autism and everything that can be a little overwhelming at times.
Yeah. I would say after being, what was it? It must have been like 4 or 5 years ago when the news crew came out and did a story, and I was pretty calm on camera, and I was like, you know what? I should get public speaking a chance because I want to help other autistic feel comfortable sharing their story, and to really show parents, like everything is going to be okay with your child. And so just last year was my first solo trip to Columbus, Ohio. I've never done a solo trip before, and it was my first time doing this conference on my own.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Did you have a lot of anxiety going into that?
Oh yeah.
I
Oh
would
yeah, and it
imagine.
didn't help that the what is it? The projector didn't work.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah. Added
Yeah.
stress.
Yeah. I've had that moment where, like, as I said before, I taught my students and I taught IT, and I was coming in to a brand new classroom, and first off, the projector didn't work, the remote was broken, and the screen that you pull down from the ceiling wouldn't come down, and I couldn't reach it. So I'm like trying. I look like a ridiculous person jumping up and down trying to reach the thing to pull it down, and it was a disaster from the start. And I started wishing I could just find a hole to fall into at that moment. And when you have those moments, for me, I ended up kind of taking a moment, taking a deep breath and listening to some music. And that kind of recentered me to be able to, okay, the equipment isn't working. And I made it into kind of like a lesson, like, yeah, IT is supposed to be there for making life easier, but
Yeah.
sometimes it doesn't make it makes it harder. In those moments where you're kind of in the thick of it and things go wrong, what would you recommend to do to fix it in your thoughts?
That's a good question. I'm gonna be honest. I've never really thought about that. I'm gonna be honest, because it's like sometimes I honestly feel like I am undiagnosed ADHD, because sometimes it gets hard to focus on things, and it's like, yeah, unless there's another way to ask the question. Sometimes if it's
No,
worded in a different
no,
way.
I understand. Basically,
When something goes wrong, I guess it's just kind of what brings back your focus. How do you pull yourself back into the moment?
Definitely give myself deep breaths and tell myself that everything is going to be okay.
okay.
My therapist tells me to do that all the time.
Yes. And I apologize. I have I have to sometimes ask how it comes in my brain, and
Oh yeah, no worries.
it may not always make sense, and I know that, but it's like I can't always think about, well, how can I reword this? And
Yeah, no worries.
I'm going to pivot a little bit here because this is burning inside. The Special Olympics, you were an athlete in the Special
Yes.
Olympics. I want to know more about this. What sport was it and how did it go? What was that experience like?
and how did you find your passion for that sport?
Yeah, I play 5 different sports,
Oh, wow.
and last year was my first season for track, and I actually, this was all from my first year.
Oh,
These medals
wow.
right here, these are
That's
all from,
awesome.
and then flag football, and
For the
not
listener,
only
there's about 5 medals he's holding up.
Yes.
this is, yeah, about 6, but
Oh,
6?
six.
Okay.
but yeah, but so my third sport is going to be coming up this, well, no, my fourth sport. So I do track, basketball, flag football, softball, and floor hockey. And I'm going to admit, I didn't think I would be able to, because I had back surgery in the past, but my doc released me to participate, and it's great because not only does it help me stay fit, there's other people just like me, and I'm able to have a really, really great time. And even the our local pro football team here, the 49ers, invited us out to play a game at their stadium, which last year, which was pretty unique
Yeah.
experience. And
That's awesome.
some of the players were our coaches, so it was an awesome opportunity. And that's the beauty of Special Olympics. And for anybody tuning in, listening, if you don't think you have what it takes to play in the Special Olympics, you do. It's a really great
Yep.
and fun time. Everybody gets to play regardless of your ability, and you will have a really fun time and also meet new people.
I would, I
Yeah,
mean,
that's great.
all those new people would be awesome to meet, and you build a bond through sports already, and being able to say that you guys went together to, the Olympics, and I mean, that was my childhood dream too. And horseback riding was to go to the Olympics, but just wow, I am in awe. I think that is so awesome that you were able to make it and do it and go and ooh.
Did you play sports as a kid? Like, have you always had a love for sports or did that come later?
Oh yeah, I've always had a love for it,
Okay.
and even when I was before my autism diagnosis, I was actually nonverbal, and I played soccer for a while. But after that back surgery, I wasn't able to find anything to help me stay fit until I looked up the Special Olympics last year, and I applied. I showed them everything. They're like, "Yeah, no, you're approved to play." So I'm like, "Let's go." Even my doc said, "Go for it."
Yes, that is really awesome.
Uh-huh.
And I do like what you said about even if you think you don't have what it takes, do it anyway. And I think that's such a great thing about anything in life, sports, music, even if, theater, do it because you could be missing out on such great friends and experiences if you don't try.
Exactly.
And you had mentioned it was with other people that was like you. And to be able to be with people that are like you and not feel like you stand out, not feel unusual or anything is a wonderful feeling to have. I was bullied a lot as a child going through school, and it's kind of screwed me up in my adult life, honestly. So it's always nice when you can be around people that you feel comfortable with and feel like yourself with. That is a huge bonus.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, there was I keep calling them cons, but it's not really a Comic Con or anything like that. It's an abilities expo. And I went to the one this past weekend, and that was the first time that I felt like I didn't stick out like a sore thumb, and that I was so welcomed, and it was such an awesome feeling. And being in that room, I didn't feel like, everybody was staring at me like, why are you here? You don't belong here. And
Right.
having that ability to feel that is amazing. And so, find a sport, find something that you love, because there's going to be people that are going to be like you and, feel like you.
Exactly. Just got to take that leap of faith and just go for it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and that's not always easy to do, because you always have those people on one side telling you don't do it, you can't do it. And then there's the good people on the other side encouraging you.
Yeah, but listen to your own gut.
Yeah.
What does that say? And if it says do it, do it. And if it says don't do it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, based on what you've said, you have a really good support system in your life. How has that impacted you?
Definitely family has been a wonderful support system, and at times I will admit, at times it wasn't easy, and I kind of at times pushed back even though I didn't mean to, because I felt like I didn't really need that support, but but it really helped me know that that family is there for you, and like
Right.
for those who even who don't see it, I mean, for those listening in, you all have a support system whether you see it or not.
Yes, you do. And if it's in the case of where your immediate family isn't necessarily there for you,
Right.
come and find us. We'll happily, stand in and be family and give you the support that you need. There's always somebody out there that can help you.
Exactly.
And I think that's kind of an important thing to do, is that for caregivers too, there's support out there, so that you can take a break. Because I know that dealing with me growing up, my parents probably wanted to, go bald.
And dealing with you as an adult, same.
Yes, that too.
You had kind of mentioned that asking for help and getting help from your parents is hard for you to accept. And I've noticed that's kind of a common theme in all of our episodes here. People tend to apologize a lot. Dory and others feel like a burden all the time. What was it that kind of, I guess, got you over that hump and got you able to ask for help and understand that it's okay?
When there was situations and things that I thought I could do on my own but couldn't.
So basically, when you're stuck in the middle of it and you don't have a choice.
Yes.
Unfortunate timing, but I'm glad I got you there.
Because we all need help at some point. I'm notoriously bad about asking for help, and I readily admit that. And I am sure that I've got plenty more to learn on how to ask for help. You mentioned that you wrote your book with your mother. And how was that experience, being able to write with her? And because I think...
Oh, it was interesting. It was interesting. I'll put it at that. But you can finish what you're saying.
I imagine that it was a lot of bonding and a lot of... I never thought about that between the two of you, coming from totally different aspects.
Exactly. And the unique thing was we didn't see what we wrote until the book was published. We didn't know that we picked the subjects. At first it was supposed to be a journal, like a private journal, but there was people that were telling us, hey, turn it into a book. And It's now, and nobody told me about this, but it's now on Barnes and Noble's website.
Awesome.
Excellent.
I was not expecting that. I look at somebody's like, hey, your book's at Barnes and Noble. I'm like, what? There's no way.
That is so cool to be able to say that.
How old were you when
Yeah.
you wrote it? Was that a recent event or was that when you were much younger?
I started writing the book at 16
Oh, wow.
and released it in 2020
Wow, that's
because there's a
awesome.
couple years of obnoxious writer's block.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I hate
happens to the best of us.
I hate writer's block.
I have a couple books published on paranormal stuff, and I understand how
Oh,
that is.
that's awesome.
Yeah, we like paranormal too. It's a favorite topic of ours to talk about too. So,
Oh, I
we
got some
geek out.
interesting stories on that end.
Also,
Can you tell us a little more, or tell the listener, I guess, a little more about the book and kind of what to expect from it?
Yeah. So with the book, we decided to write about both of our perspectives because it's important to hear both sides and not just one. And we talked about the most important topics from like the early years all the way to today, like dealing with school, bullying, independence, and stuff like that. And it starts off with writing about a little something about me or my subject, and we switch to my mom's, and it's like, it's very unique. And it was not easy to write. I'm going to be honest, because there are times where I didn't want to relive the past, but felt it was important to share.
yeah, the past can be hurtful, but sometimes being able to share it is what helps heal, and make it kind of like that was something that allowed me to grow. And
Right.
because like the bullying thing, so many people unfortunately go through that. And as Mike has said, that he was mercilessly bullied growing up, and I was a little bit bullied, not quite so much because my older sister like terrified all the kids. So there was that benefit. But I don't understand why people do that. I understand that they may be hurting, but I don't understand why people do that. And how were you able to then use the hurt, the anger, and such to grow from being bullied?
It was not easy. I'm going to be really, really honest. It was not easy, but I did that because I feel like it could help others who are dealing with like a similar situation figure out a way to not only get through that, but know that, you know, don't fight back. I learned my mistake. I will admit, I learned my mistake from fighting back. It wasn't, and I apologized. I felt really bad for what I did, but it's important to know that if you are bullied, either inform the instructor that you trust the most, or even like the principal or so on,
Yeah.
because fighting back's not the best idea.
No,
Yeah.
sometimes that can actually just end up escalating the issue and making it worse. But
Oh
I
yeah.
liked what you said is finding the teacher that you trust the most. And that's really important because sometimes you can ask for help and teachers or administration just kind of brushes you off. So finding the one that you trust the most is really important to be able to get to getting a good solution and
Exactly.
a proper solution. And speaking on that, did you get actual solutions that were beneficial so that the bullying did stop?
I'm boy, I wish I remembered. I'm gonna be honest. I wish I remembered.
Yeah, not to bring up bad memories.
Oh no, no, definitely no. It's not a. There's some parts of the past that I don't remember as much, and I'm having a tough time remembering that the answer to that question. It might come
Understandable.
back to me.
Yeah.
I was in school in the 90s when I was being bullied, and it was much different than what I've experienced with my kids in school today, being with
Right.
bullying. It's much more People are much more aware of it.
Yeah.
And they're more willing to help now than they were when we were in school in the 90s. In the 90s, it didn't seem to be as important to help as it is today. And I feel like that's why it never stopped for me. Even into my adult life, it didn't stop. And I think that's where it affected me so badly moving forward in my life, to the point where I go quiet more often than I probably should.
Right.
So
I would like to say a disclaimer. I was not the one bullying Mike
no,
as
of
an
course
adult.
not. Of course not. I wouldn't have married you. So yeah, my point in saying that was just, it was hard to get help back then in the 90s and that kind of time frame, because people weren't as, I guess, aware. Yeah, I guess aware is the best word.
And now there's more awareness.
Yes.
There should be, I know we talk about autism awareness this, autism awareness that. I get it. But at this point, with the rate on the rise, here in California, it's 1 in 20, I believe, in California. And I push for acceptance over awareness, because when people are aware, that's all that it is. Awareness that we exist. But with acceptance, you not only aware, but also take the necessary steps to at least help us feel more accepting, or like help us if we like need accommodations with something like getting something down from like a shelf, or more accessibility in schools and infrastructure like the workplace.
Exactly. Yeah. I love what you said, actually. That aware just means you know it exists. You're aware of it happening. And I think with autism, we definitely need acceptance. And just not only that we exist, but our worth isn't tied to what we can do for you, and that we come in all shapes and sizes. And, some of us are nonverbal, some of us are very verbal, and that you need to accept the fact that we are here and that there's nothing to fix with us, and that, you can't just throw a pill and, oh, there you go, now you're not autistic. And there's nothing wrong with us thinking differently than neurotypicals. And that's how actually a lot of things have been able to be invented and find solutions, is people thinking differently. And we need more of that. And I think that the way that they describe the rise in autism is a disservice, because it makes it sound like, we're catching measles.
Makes it sound like it didn't exist before.
Right. Like, it's always been around. I've got pictures of family members from over hundreds of years ago. And you can tell that, hundreds as in from when pictures were around, but but you can tell that they had autism, the way that they presented themselves in the picture. It was obvious that there was there. And there wasn't vaccines back then. And so there's nothing to fix. There's nothing wrong with us. We're good. And, you need to accept that we are here.
Yep, exactly. And I've been pushing that through my speaking engagements, been focusing on the acceptance aspect.
And I love that.
Great.
And I think that is wonderful. And I thank you so much for that, because we need everybody on deck saying, no, we don't need to be fixed. We don't need a magic pill. There's nothing wrong with us. We're not going around giving people, a sickness or anything.
Right. Exactly.
You spoke in Dubai once, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How is that?
And you had quite a big audience, from what I read. A rather large figure.
About 100-ish people. The first night was about 50. They could only fit 50, so they sold out like pretty quick. And then second night, I was a guest speaker for a book release, but they didn't tell me I was going first, so that was intimidating. But but it was really cool to meet Her Excellency, Dr. Al-Qasimi. It was such a wonderful thing, but what stood out the most, and I still remember this to this day, other than the 115-degree heat wearing a all black suit, that was not fun.
I'm
But
sure.
yeah, that was something else. But there was this autistic kid. I'm gonna have to send show you the photo. The way that he talks is by singing, and after I shared my story, after I shared my quote and poem, he wanted to say something. You could tell he was trying to talk normally, and then the mother was like, "No, it's okay. You don't have to sing, or you don't have to say anything." And I told him, you don't. If it's too much pressure, don't worry about it. And then he decided to. He sang out of nowhere, like it caught everyone by surprise, even me. And I'm just standing there like, oh my goodness, it was amazing. And he was singing how he wishes that families can be there for their child, and like how to, or like bridging the gap that there is to help bring families closer. And I was like, it still blows my mind to this day, but it was like
Yeah.
I didn't expect to, with my story, that it impacted to the point where he actually was comfortable enough to even sing about that, and it was unbelievable.
Yes, that
That
is
is,
beautiful.
yeah.
And I that is a true honor when you get people who come up to you and basically say, because of you, I get to do this. And I,
That's what we strive for.
yeah, that's
in
what we're trying
advocacy,
for.
is to make a difference in people, and that's what you did.
And I want to touch on the family part, is that it's a big thing that there is sometimes, and I think it's a lot of it is due to the fact that we don't have the proper resources for people, especially here in America, so that parents can be more connected with their children. And because, like I said earlier, that all three of our kids are autistic, and I'm autistic on top of that. So it makes it kind of difficult sometimes for us to communicate.
Right.
And I wish that there had been more resources to kind of help
Yeah.
me not only navigate my own communication difficulties, but then be able to understand not only myself, then I think it would have helped me understand them talking to me better. And
Yeah.
so it kind of, I mean, I'm lucky enough that our kids like me. So, but it's just, so many other families out there, though, that don't get that connection because they don't have the resources, the time, or the money, or, the help that they need in order to be able to communicate correctly and properly with their family members so that they can get what they need and how they
Right.
need it.
So
Is
I kind of like help families out, like showing them the support, like, hey, you be there for your child. And I mostly focus on parents of newly diagnosed kids, but I even wrote a blog of like helping family members out on my website. And I think the most important thing for a parent is self-care, first
Yes,
and foremost.
Yep.
Yeah.
definitely. Because caring for, even if you're neurotypical, caring for children is hard. But being neurodivergent, I think it's a little extra sometimes because, like, I would get overwhelmed a little easier. At least that's what it seemed like to me than, what you saw on TV or read. I mean, there wasn't much information out there, which there should be, on neurodivergent parents dealing with neurodivergent children.
Right.
Because sometimes you see patterns and things that are a little more intricate and difficult to navigate. And I think it's a disservice to us that we don't have all of this information out there other than awareness.
Exactly.
Definitely is. So, in your public speaking and travels, Is traveling difficult? Is that hard for you and stressful? I don't care for, especially long travel, like to Dubai. I don't care for that sort of thing. Have you had issues with that?
I've been fine with it. I mean, I don't sleep on planes, so it was an interesting challenge. But the only time that is stressful is going through TSA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
TSA. Yeah.
And it only gets
That's
worse
the only
every year.
stressful thing, and it's like right when I walk past, it's like I'm back to normal.
Yeah.
I,
I can't stand the TSA part. It kind of. Yeah, that's another topic.
Yeah.
With your travels, how has it been getting, like, do you have a chance to actually see the sights and experience some local cuisine or things like that while you're there?
Because most of these engagements happen during the school year, I usually am there like Friday, Saturday, come home Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday, come home Monday, and back to work and school. I mean, is it easy? No, but there's a there's a couple specific locations that I have in mind. I'd like to stay longer to check it out.
Definitely.
yeah.
That would be cool. And
Yeah.
seeing just even from like the airplane and the terminals, being able to see that, I think is kind of interesting. I know it's weird, but like I kind of like seeing the different terminals when I used to have to travel a lot. I liked seeing the different airports and how they all differed throughout the country. So, I mean,
Yeah.
being able to see international ones has got to be awesome too.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I get to the airport 3 hours early.
Yes.
I had mentioned in the intro that you've won awards before. Can you kind of talk about the award and how that came about?
Definitely. It's probably my biggest achievement. Let me see if I have it here. I don't know if people will see this, but I'll show you. It's the
Oh, wow.
Disability Advocate of the Year
Wow.
Cool.
through San Andreas Regional Center, and it's I was shocked when I won it. I'm gonna be really honest, because after while they were looking through the different candidates, they said that for Advocate of the Year, this was the most amount of entries that they've received, or like the amount of there's so many people with that signed up for the award, and I was like, wow, it was something, and threw me off guard, I'm gonna admit, and but it shows that all my hard work finally paid off, and now that that's there, I've been working harder, a little more harder than I should. I'm definitely exhausted a lot more, but it's like, I want to, winning this shows that people with disabilities has what it takes to lead and be leaders for this generation.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You definitely have what it takes to be leaders and thought producers and everything, and
Yep.
lead us into the next centuries and years. I mean, granted, yeah. But it's just, I think that's really awesome that you were able to get that award, because
Yeah.
all that you have
Congratulations.
done is
Thank you.
truly awesome. And
Definitely.
being able to say that I talked to an award winner of that is like, it's really cool to me.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're doing this to
appreciate it.
advocate and to help everyone share their voice. And
Yeah.
you're an award-winning advocator. I don't know if that's a word, but yeah, it's really
Yeah.
cool.
And I thank you for that, because it's hard work. It's exhausting work. Constantly thinking of, what to say and where to go and who to meet, and constantly trying to find ways to get people to understand where you're coming from and what your thoughts are. And it's exhausting a lot of times. And the fact that you keep doing it is a testament to the fact that not only are you an amazing person, but that you showed again that autism isn't like a death sentence type of thing. And that
Exactly.
it's not a, oh my God, now what do I do? I have no hope. You have plenty of hope. I mean, look
Yep.
at what you've done and all of that you've accomplished and that you are accomplishing currently. And
Exactly.
even if you're nonverbal, the fact that you're thriving and alive is an accomplishment in and of itself, too. And
Absolutely.
being able to do that, I think, is awesome. And I think that that proves that we're human and that we are worth so much to our families and friends and those that we get to meet.
Absolutely.
We're getting close to the end here, and I don't want to miss the opportunity, but I want to give you the chance to kind of tell everyone where they can find your book, how they can find whatever you want to promote, your business and
to
everything.
hear your quote.
And your quote.
Oh my gosh, the poem. Oh, that's a story in itself. But you could find my book at. I will send you the links as well so you could share. But
Please.
aspireautism.com. It would be wonderful for those who have Instagram to follow. I mean, I don't want to brag about all the followers I get or that I have, but there's a reason why I wanted to share. I mean, yeah, I'm close to 3,000 followers. I focus more on like others get to see the real side of me. And it's like, during Autism Month, the most of the time the autistic voice is silenced a lot, or like even during major events. That's what's like tell them like it's really important to follow autistic content creators because it helps amplify our voices and it shows our real side that not a whole lot of people get to see.
Yes, I completely agree. And you should brag.
I'm trying not.
Yeah. 100%
Yeah.
you should.
Yes,
I know.
you
I'm
busted
one that,
ass. You're
Yeah.
just amazing. So you should brag about being an amazing person and accomplishing so much.
Yeah, I just tried to put myself last to kind of like, or it's like trying to stay humble, if that
Yes.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And
So,
let
yeah.
us de-humble you then.
Man, it's Martin's Autism Life, all one word, and even my company has an Instagram handle, Inspire Autism. Now I will end it with this poem that I wrote. Fun fact: it was a homework assignment, but because I was able to share it to the students, and the students really thought it was amazing, I might as well share it. So it's called I Am. As my throat gets a little dry here. All right. All right, throat, do not let me down. Okay. Oh boy. I don't know why I get nervous with poems sometimes. You know what? I'm just going to do it. I am a warrior for change, unique in every way, battling quiet struggles and loud wars every day. My body, marked by stress, tells a story, a testament of strength in all I say and do. I wonder how many trials must test my weary soul in a world that judges scars as if they were a toll. Yet I hear soft whispers of hope for every child and see eyes lifted upward where dreams run wild. I see the weight of prejudice on every tender face, parents fighting silent battles in a world that won't erase the doubts and hurt that linger when judgment comes too fast. Still together we rise, united and unsurpassed. I want to guide the lost so no one fights alone. Our differences unite us in the strength we've known. I am a warrior for change. My disability is not a flaw, but a symbol of resilience defined in what I saw. I pretend to wear the armor, though sometimes I feel the strain. Exhaustion weighs me down, yet hope runs through my vein. I touch hearts with gentle grace, a beacon in the night. I worry for a world still blind to our inherent right. I cry silent tears in darkness so no one sees me cry. Each droplet tells a story of the strength we all contain. God will help us through it. Just reach out and pray. I am a light that will not be confined. I say, let no one dim your light. Let your true self shine. I dream of days when labels fade and every soul's embraced, when disability is honored as a beauty interlaced. I try to hold on to hope, though sometimes my strength feels weak. I trust that you will see the power in the battles that we seek. I am a warrior for change. Through struggles, soft or loud, forever proud of every mark that makes us different, bold, and unbound.
Wow.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm starting to cry.
Oh boy, that happens every time. Every time I bring up a poem or talk, like people usually don't end up with a dry eye, and I'm like, seriously, it's like, is it me? Is it what I write?
No, it's the way that you convey your words are incredibly beautiful.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate being able to hear that. I mean, that was really good.
It was.
And it's 100% true. And how I, wanted to do this, how Mike wanted to do this, is that we want to be warriors and give everybody the chance to, help them fight their battles so that everybody has a chance to be who they are, how they are, when they are, whatever.
Yeah.
And I thank you so much.
Yes.
I really, really do. And I didn't grow up with a lot of genuine people until I met you all in the disability and LGBTQ communities. And you guys are just amazing and just overflow my heart, I guess you could say. And I thank you all for everything you do daily.
Yeah, and I thank you all for creating this podcast because it helps others share their story more, and it helps amplify our voices.
That's what I want.
That's what we want, a safe place. But yes, thank you very much for coming here. Thank you for sharing your story and for going along with us in this journey.
Yes, thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
And please come and talk to us again. We would love to talk more, especially about, more parts of your book and more of your travels, and that would be awesome.
Definitely. You can count on that. We'll definitely keep in touch.
Yes.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for listening. Please leave a rating for us wherever you listen. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok.
Othering Podcast is brought to you by Loudcore Productions in conjunction with your support. Your host, Mike and Dory Morris, graphics by Joshua Morris, and join us next week on the Othering Podcast.